this week's practice. This week's practice is going to be a full body Vinyasa style practice, kind of intermediate level, but plenty of options to modify and make things easier if needed. So we'll begin today's practice down onto our backs. And once you're laying down onto your back, just take a moment, just in Shavasana, coming into your own space. And just allowing the mind to settle, and allowing the breath to settle. We're going to bring the right knee into the chest, just holding gently. You can hold around the shin or maybe the back of the thigh if that's more comfortable for you, but just don't pull it in at this stage, just holding. And then take your right hand onto your right knee and just begin gently starting to circle into that hip joint. Starting to warm up that ball and socket. Take those circles back in the opposite direction. And then just coming back to stillness. And then maybe just bring the knee in slightly closer. And take the right hand back onto the right knee and just guide the right knee out to the side. You might rest your left hand on towards your hip just to make sure the left hip's not floating up. And then bringing the right knee back centre, swapping over with the left hand. You might lay your right arm out on the floor and just guide the knee across the body, coming into quite a gentle twist. So we're at the beginning of our practice, so don't push it too deep. Slowly bringing that right knee back centre and just plant the right foot onto the floor and bring the left knee into the chest and then sending the right leg away. And again, we're just loosely holding here. Taking left hand onto left knee and starting to circle. Your circle back in the opposite direction. And slowly coming back to stillness. And then just bring that knee in, maybe a bit closer this time. And then taking your left hand to your left knee, guiding that left knee out to the side. Gently resting the right hand onto the hip, just to keep the hips level. Bring the knee back centre, taking right hand onto left knee, take the left arm out to the side, just guide the left knee across the body. Slowly coming back centre, and then bring the other knee in towards the chest. You might gently massage the spine into the floor. Take some circles. We're going to make our way to a seated position. So you can either roll over to a side and make your way round, or you might want to massage the back into the floor by taking a few more energetic tick-tocks up and down the spine. Take as many of these as you wish. And then just coming upright, sitting comfortably for you. I'm going to sit cross-legged, but you don't necessarily have to sit this way. Starting with the hands onto the knees, just take some body rolls. Taking chest over one knee, through centre, over the other knee, and then back, rounding into the back. You might gaze towards the belly button when you do this. And then take those circles back in the opposite direction. Completing the repetition you're on and coming back centre. And then reaching the arms up towards the ceiling, interlink the palms, turning, press them up, pushing them towards the ceiling. And then release the hands, taking them back down by the sides. Again, lifting arms up. Interlink the fingers, turn and press. And just turn around to the right, holding here for a few breaths. Turning through centre and then round to the left. Turning back centre. Turning round to the right, this time releasing the arms and taking a simple twist here. Reaching the arms back up through centre, turn and press, turning round to the left, taking your twist to the left side. Reaching up, turn and press, coming back centre, separating the hands and then taking the hands forwards and then coming into an easy fold, so whatever position your legs in, depends how low you come, just let the head be heavy here. hands round towards the small of the back, interlink the fingers. An option to lift the arms up off of the back. Lowering the arms back down, and bringing yourself back upright. And we're going to come round to a tabletop position. So round to 4-point kneeling. And then once you're set up in your 4-point kneeling, we're just going to work on the wrists. So fingers facing forwards, nice and spread out, and just start to draw circles. So these circles could be quite small, or they could be quite big. Just being intuitive with how expansive you want to be with them. And take them back the opposite way. Back to stillness. Now we're going to repeat something similar, but take the fingers out sideways. So continue with those circles. They might be a bit smaller this time, or just a bit more sort of oval shaped. And then going back in the opposite direction. Coming back to stillness, and if it's in your range of movement, turn the fingers back so they're pointing towards the knees. If you find that they won't do that, you might do one at a time and then swap. So if you have got both hands facing back, just start the circle. If you've got one hand facing back, begin your circle just with the one hand facing backwards. Swap direction. If you've got both hands facing back, if you've got one hand facing back, swap over with the other hand and continue the circles. Coming back to stillness, just sit back to the heels for a moment and release the wrists off. You might want to give them a massage or just move them in a way that feels like it's releasing them. We're just going to take our weight a bit further forwards. And then we're going to tuck the toes under, bring the knees together, and then take the weight a bit further back. Now you might want to keep some weight on the hands here, or you might feel that you can walk the hands back and come into a kneeling position with your toes tucked under. Some people with arthritis, this can be very uncomfortable. So just be intuitive and listen to how it's making your body feel. If you're here and you're quite comfortable and you want to deepen this, you can edge the knees a bit further forward, and that will increase the sensation in the sole of the foot. And just continue to breathe freely here. Exploring the sensations that this is creating. And then just take the hands forward, release the toes, and come down onto the tops of the feet, sitting back. This might be enough, or if you want to take the stretch into the tops of the feet, maybe the shins, just place the fingers down and lift the knees. Lowering the knees back down, walk the hands back out to your 4-point kneeling. And we'll take some cat-cow stretches. So dipping the belly, take the gaze forwards, rounding the back, gazing towards the belly button. Move through this at your own pace. ankle you're on, and then coming back to stillness. Tuck the toes under again. This time having them hip distance, knees hip distance, and I'm going to lift up in towards the downward facing dog. So from your downward dog, if it feels good to walk the dog out and take one heel to the floor then the other, then go ahead with that. If you would prefer to perhaps bend the knees and push the chest towards the thighs, or maybe you just hold in stillness, aiming the back flat. I'm going to start to walk the feet up towards the hands. And when you get them towards the hands, just keep them hip distance. Come into an easy forward fold, so plenty of knee bend here if it's needed. You see my knees aren't straight here. And you might want to hold on to opposite elbows and let the head just dangle. Swaying can be good too. I'm going to come into a bit of a flow from here. So taking the hands back down towards the floor. And take a breath in. Take the hands to the shins, find your flat back position. Have the neck long, so gazing down to the floor in front of you, and then breathing out, folding back down. And again, breathe in, making a flat back. Breathing out to fold back down. Then one more time, breathing in, hands to shins, making a flat back. This time take the hands towards the hips and slowly start to come up to stand. And once fully up in a standing position, take the feet slightly wider than hip distance. And then we'll come in sort of a slightly wider leg mountain pose. And then reach the arms up towards the ceiling, interlink the fingers and turn and press. I'm just going to drop down so you can see what my hands are doing. So we're in this position here and we're going to hold this for the next few movements. So again, like when we were seated, take a breath in, and as you breathe out, just turn around towards the right, so more of the body's involved with this twist. So try to keep it in the upper body, so you don't want the hips moving round, keep the legs nice and straight here. And then turning back through centre, and just move around to the other side. Turning back through centre, moving around to the other side, but this time separating the arms out into a T shape, palms facing down. You might look towards the back right arm. Take the arms back, interlink the fingers, moving through centre, moving around to the left, separating out. Taking the arms up, moving back through centre, and then this time leaving the left arm where it is, separating the hands, take the right hand towards the hip, and I'm going to push the hips over to the left and slide them towards the right. Arm next to the ear. Slowly coming back centre, taking left hand towards the hip, reaching right arm up to the ceiling, then side bending over to the left, pushing the hips over towards the right. Moving back to centre. I'm going to repeat this again. So right hand to right hip, left arm up, but this time take the right foot out and just point it and have it out to the side slightly, and take your side bend. You might notice the sensations have changed a bit here. Maybe move to a different place. Coming back centre, taking left hand to hip, bring the right foot in, reaching right arm up, take the left foot, point the toe just out to the side bend over towards the left. Moving back centre, bringing the foot in, bringing hands down by the sides. Now from your wider foot position, just turn the heels in and the toes out slightly. We're going to find our squat from here. So if you don't come that deeply into a squat, you might just want to hold like quite a good chair pose, keeping the knees in line with the feet. So we're going to take our hands towards a prayer position and slowly start to lower down, stopping where it's your place to stop. And the heels need to come up, let them come up. If they don't, then keep them down. And if you need your hands for support on the floor, then use them for support. If you've got your hands still in a prayer, just use them to push the knees apart and straightening the back up. Try to have a straight back here. Sometimes it's worth sacrificing a little bit of depth for that straight back. Just breathing through whatever position you're in. Just not having any sort of attachment to it. And then everyone take their hands down towards the floor. Then we're going to take it back in towards a forward fold. And heel toe the feet so the big toes are touching. And just fold a little deeper, remembering to soften the knees. And making sure the hands are shoulder distance or slightly wider. And we're going to take a step back to our downward facing dog. And from our downward facing dog, ripple the body forwards, coming in towards a plank. Drop the knees down towards the floor. Lower the chest and chin between the hands and lower all the way down. Bring the elbows underneath the shoulders, finding your sphinx, your low back bend. Gazing forwards, nice long neck. Shine the chest through the shoulders. Slight activation into the glutes and abdominals just to keep that lower back safe. Lowering down towards the floor. And we're going to move back towards our downward facing dog. So leg lifts are optional, you don't have to take them. But if you want to do a leg lift, lifting the right leg up towards the ceiling, keeping it straight and square. Bending in towards the knee, and then bringing the knee underneath the chest, and then stepping that foot through. Drop down towards the left knee, so we're finding ourselves in a low lunge here. Making sure the ankle and knee are in line. Wheel to the fingertips, really bringing the chest forwards. And then just straightening towards the right knee. Finding your half splits. Bending back in towards the knee, leaving the right hand down towards the floor, or the left hand down towards the floor rather, reaching right arm up to the ceiling, just finding a simple twist here. Lowering back down, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and take a step back to your downward facing dog. And we're going to move through this on the other side, lifting the left leg up towards the ceiling. Bending the knee, bringing it to hover under the chest, and then stepping that foot through, lowering down towards the right knee. So we're in our low lunge on this side, coming onto fingertips, lifting the chest. And then straightening in towards the left leg, Coming into that hamstring, finding your half split. Bending back in towards that knee. Planting right hand, reaching left arm up, simple twist. Lowering back down, tuck the back toes, finding your downward facing dog. Rippling the body forwards into a plank, option to drop to the knees, or you might just lower yourself all the way down with control. Keeping hands underneath the shoulders this time, feeling shoulder blades down the back, lifting into low cobra, or maybe a slightly higher cobra, whatever feels right for your back today. Lowering back down, tucking the toes, finding our downward facing dog. Reaching the right leg up to the ceiling. You might bend the knee and open the hip here. So stacking the hips, bringing the heel in towards the bottom. So it's the highest point, the knee is the highest point of your body. Try and keep the shoulders as square as you can. And then square up, bringing that knee under the chest again, and then stepping through. This time, we're not going to lower down towards the left knee. Just make sure the feet are at least hip distance so you're not on a tight rope. So coming up on towards the fingertips, and then we're going to find our way up into a high lunge position here. So just check in with your high lunge. So nice good bend in towards that front knee. But the back knee, you might need a slight bend, because if you look at me, if I completely straighten my back knee, I'm slightly tilting into my pelvis and dumping into my lower back. So if I slightly bend the back knee, it straightens my back out slightly. So you just have to work with what your body will do for you. So you can either take hands towards a prayer at the chest, or you could reach them up towards the ceiling. And from wherever you are, take the arms up and just have them slightly separated. Take the hands so the palms are facing forwards. Take a breath in here. And then as you breathe out, take the arms down towards a cactus shape. So imagine your back's against the wall and you're dragging the arms down the wall. Breathe in to take the arms up. Breathing out, bringing them down that wall. So move at your own pace. One more. Bringing the hands towards a prayer at the chest. Turning around towards the right, either staying upright, or you could hook that left elbow over the right knee, gaze behind. Turning back centre. And then taking the left hand down towards the floor, reaching the right arm up, so we're in that twist again, but the knee is up. So you can either stay here, or if you want to come into a bit of strength, we're going to find our side plank from here. So just turn that left foot so it's on its side, and take the right foot back, so you can either have the feet hip distance, balance, or if you want to stack the feet, go ahead and stack them and really push the hips upwards. And you might reach the arm over the head to increase that stretch into the side body. Turning down towards the floor, back in towards a plank, lowering down. Choosing a back bend, you might take your Sphinx, you might take your Cobra. Lowering back down, tucking the toes, downward facing dog. Optional leg lift, reaching the left leg up towards the ceiling. You could bend the knee and open the hip. bringing that left knee through under the chest, stepping the foot through, again checking the feet are at least hip distance, coming on towards the fingertips, coming up into your high lunge, prayer at the chest or arms up towards the ceiling. Just noticing if your heart rate's starting to increase or your breathing starting to get a bit more intense. And again, separating the hands, palms facing forwards, and we're going to lower them down towards that cactus shape. This is where we're going to begin the movement from. So take a breath in, opening the chest. Then as you breathe out, wrap the arms round in the back and hug them around yourself. Keep the legs in the same position if you can. So breathe in to open the chest. Breathe out to round and wrap. Again, moving at your own pace. Just make this the last repetition. Finding your cactus arms, bringing the hands back towards a prayer at the chest, and then twisting around towards the left this time, maybe hooking that elbow over the knee, gazing behind. Turning back centre, taking right hand down towards the floor, reaching the left arm up. Either staying here, or we're going to find our side plank on the other side. So turn on towards the side of the right foot, take the left foot back, either stacking the feet or having a hip distance. And you might reach that left arm over by the ear if you don't have furniture in the way. Lowering down, finding your plank, moving through a flow. You might come down and hover in chaturanga this time. You might find an upward dog. And then back to downward facing dog. Either using downward dog for your recovery, or you could drop to your knees and take a child pose. So choose one of those options to spend the next 30 seconds or so in. And then we'll all find our way back in towards a downward facing dog. And then from here, again, if you like the leg lifts, lifting right leg up to the ceiling, bending the knee, opening the hip. Squaring the hips up, gazing to the space between the hands, bringing that right leg through under the chest, stepping forwards. This time spinning your back foot parallel to the back of the mat, bending deeply into the right knee. We're going to find our warrior two. So arms in a T shape, gazing towards your right fingertips or just beyond. And then flip your right palm up to the ceiling, drop the left hand down towards the thigh, and then reverse your warrior. Moving back to that warrior two shape, taking right elbow towards right thigh, reaching left arm up and over. Turning down towards the floor, back into that simple twist. So again, a few more options that you can take or not. You could go back in towards our side plank, So making that left foot parallel, stacking the hips again. If you want to take this further, you might lift the right leg up, plant the foot behind, and find your wild thing. So opening the chest, reaching that right arm over. Wherever you are, turning back down, finding our plank, moving through a flow. Choosing a back bend. And then back to downward facing dog. The good thing about doing a recorded video is that you can stop it if you start feeling tired and have a rest. I'm going to repeat that sequence onto the other side. So lifting left leg up towards the ceiling, bending the knee, opening the hip. Squaring up, bringing that foot through to under the chest, stepping through, turning that right foot parallel with the back of the mat this time, and we're going to find our warrior two. Gazing towards the left fingertips. And then flipping that left palm, dropping the right hand down to the back of the thigh, reversing your warrior. Moving back through center, finding your side angle. Taking that right hand down towards the floor. Pivot on the back heel so you're in that lunge position, reaching left arm up. Now you can stay here, or you can find your side plank. You can stay here, or you can take that left foot back and find your wild thing. Turning back down. And then finding our flow, moving through plank, chaturanga, back bend. And instead of downward dog, drop the knees down. We're going to find a child pose. So big toes touching. Take the knees as wide as is comfortable for you. The wider the knees go, the more it's going to come into the hip. Looking to the space between the hands, and then moving yourself forwards, laying all the way down on towards the front of your body. I'm just going to find our Sphinx pose. And then just bend the right knee in towards the bottom. Option to hold in strength, or you might take the left hand diagonally across the front, reach back with the right arm, and then maybe pull that foot in. We're just stretching down the front of the right leg to the hip flexors and the quadricep muscles. Releasing the right leg back to Sphinx, bending into left knee, either staying here or taking left hand, right hand diagonal, reaching back the left hand and taking the foot. Releasing off, taking hands underneath the shoulders, and we're going to move back towards our downward facing dog. Come towards the top end of the mat. So looking to the space between the hands, coming onto the toes, bending the knees. You might walk up, you might step up, or you might hop the feet to the space between the hands. Breathe in to make a flat back. Breathe out to fold. Breathe in, come up, taking the arms up, palms touch. Breathing out, back in towards our mountain pose. We're going to find a variation of dancer pose from here, which is why we warmed up a little bit into the front legs beforehand. So just make sure you've got space in front and behind you. And take a moment to ground yourself, because we're going to take a bit of a balancing sequence here. Perhaps lifting the toes, lowering them down, making sure all corners of the feet are planted in towards the mat. And then we're going to take the weight in towards the left leg first, and then bend the right knee and just bring the right heel into the bottom. You can hold with one hand or both hands, whatever feels better. And from here, just choosing the grip you would like to take for your dancer pose. So some people like to hold the outside of the ankle. Some people like to hold the inside. I like to hold the inside, it just works better for my shoulders. And instead of taking the left arm up, I'm going to take it directly out in front. So a bit like a warrior two arm. We're going to aim to keep that arm parallel. We're going to start to bring that right leg up and holding on towards the foot. And you're going to tip forward slightly, and you're aiming those arms a bit like warrior two arms, but you're holding onto a foot instead. Continuing to breathe. And then slowly coming back up, right? If you can do this without touching down, you might bring that knee through, just holding around. Place your left hand on towards the knee, reaching the right arm back, finding a twist. Option, if you've got a bit of a longer hamstring, you might take the right foot and straighten in towards the leg. The leg doesn't have to completely straighten, obviously you can keep it bent. Maybe you're looking back towards your hand, maybe you're still looking forwards, just getting that twist in. And then one more thing on this leg, just releasing off, and we're going to see if you can swing through, take hands to the chest, finding a warrior three. So bringing the body parallel as much as you can here. Keeping the hips facing down towards the floor, and then slowly coming back up and back to standing, and then just walk the feet out. Takes a bit of tension built up there. We're going to take this on the other side, and then it will be all downhill from there, and you won't get any more super challenging postures. So re-establishing your grounding. And then bending into the left knee, bringing the heel in towards the bottom, holding with one hand or both hands. And just choosing your grip, so outside of the ankle or the inside of the ankle, and reach that right arm forward, straight out in front of you. And then start to push the hand in towards the foot, bringing them upright, aiming both arms parallel. That might not be the reality, but it's the intention that's important. Slowly coming back in, if you can without touching down, but touch down if you need to. Just bring that knee into the chest, holding it there. Take right hand towards the left knee, reaching the left hand back, finding that twist. Option to take hold of the foot and straighten the leg. Turning back centre, letting go of the foot, swinging that leg through, palms to a prayer at the chest, finding our warrior three. Slowly coming back upright, back towards our mountain pose. And just take the feet back to that slightly wider than hip distance position again, turning the toes out. Take the hands towards a prayer at the chest. We're going to revisit our squat from here. So lowering the bottom down towards the floor. Coming as far down as you normally come. Just holding for a few breaths. So you might still be quite high in your squat. And then we're going to find ourselves in a seated position, so just lowering yourself down on towards your bottom and just take the legs out in front. Take a moment sitting in seated staff. And then bending the right knee in towards the chest. Just let the right knee drop out to the side, reaching the arms up, and then folding forwards, folding over the left leg. Breathing, lifting the chest, and then breathing out. Melt into your forward fold. Slowly walk the hands back in. Taking the right hand behind, pointing in towards the left toes, just lifting the hips up for a counter stretch. Reach that left arm up and over. Lowering back down. Turning back forwards, picking up that right knee, and then taking it over the left leg. You have an option to keep the left leg straight, or you could bend the left foot around. And then we're going to bring our right foot around by our left hip. So we're coming in towards our Gomukhasana legs, our cow face pose. If you find this doesn't work and you can't make this shape, then just keep that right knee in a more upright position. So from wherever you are, make sure both sit bones are planted onto the floor. You might stay upright, you might want to just stay here holding this, or you might want to take your eagle bind, so reaching the arms forwards, taking right arm under left, binding once, binding twice maybe. Breathing, lifting the chest, either holding it here, or you might fold forwards. Up if you folded, release your eagle arms, release your legs, take the feet about mat wide, just windscreen wiper the legs, just releasing off. And then taking the legs back out straight, and then bringing the left knee in, guiding the left knee out to the side, having the sole of the foot against the thigh, reaching the arms up, and then folding over the right leg. Breathing, lifting the chest, and then melting into the fold. Slowly coming back upright, taking left hand behind this time, pointing into the right toes, lifting the hips up, reaching the right arm up and over. Lowering back down, turning back centre, bringing in the left knee, taking it over the right leg. Option to keep the right leg straight or bend the foot around by the hip. And then we're working our left foot around by our left hip. So So we're either in our half cow face or full cow face variant, or you've got your foot still a little further forward. Whatever works best for you. Either staying upright or take our eagle bind on the other side. So reaching the arms out. This time the left arm goes under the right, binding once or binding twice. Breathe in, lifting the chest. Option to fold forwards. Slowly coming back upright, releasing your bind, releasing your legs. Then we're going to take those windscreen wiper movements again. And then just planting the feet hip distance in towards the floor. And an option to lift up, coming in towards our reverse tabletop. Lowering down. We're going to make our way down into our back now. So make sure you've got space behind you. Take the hands to the backs of the thighs and just roll down. And then once you're down on towards your back, just picking up that right ankle and then placing it on towards the left thigh, flexing the foot. And you might stay here, or you might bring the knee into the chest, coming into our reclined pigeon. Taking the left foot back down towards the floor. Take the arms out to a T or a cactus shape. You might lift the hips and shift them over to the right slightly before allowing the left knee to drop to the floor, the left foot to drop to the floor. Slowly lifting the legs back centre, taking the right leg off of the left leg, keeping your hips slightly over to the right, just bring the knees in towards the chest and just allow them to drop over to the left again, stacked. You might notice the twist moved higher up into the back. Slowly bring the knees back centre, good abdominal brace for this. Drop the feet down, move the hips back to the centre, and then taking your left ankle on towards your right knee, bringing the knee into the chest, coming into your reclined pigeon on the other side, flexing into that left foot, protecting your knee. Dropping the right foot back to the floor, take the arms out to the side, lift the hips up, take them slightly over to the left, and then lower down over to the right. bracing the abdominals, bringing the knees back up, taking the left foot off of the right leg, keeping the hips over to the left, bring the knees into the chest, and then dropping them over to the right. Bracing the tummy muscles, guiding the knees back centre, drop the feet down, centralise the hips, and then bring the knees both into the chest. You might stay here and just gently rock the spine into the floor, or you might separate the legs. You might hold on to the ankles or the feet and find your happy baby. And wherever you want to go in happy baby, you might want to rock from side to side. If you've got more length in the hamstrings, you might bend or straighten into one leg than the other, or maybe even take it with straight legs. Releasing the feet or ankles if you took them, guide the knees back together. And we're going to find our Shavasana from here. So just lower yourself down onto the floor, into whatever is a more comfortable position for you to take this in. So grabbing blankets, if you want to have something under the knees, that can feel nice. Take the arms out to that place. If you prefer to take this in the fetal position, just take in the fetal position. Finding a few minutes in stillness, either just turning the video off here or staying with me for your Shavasana, maybe about a couple of minutes. Closing the eyes. Start to bring in some deeper breaths. And then begin to bring movement back in. You might want to stretch, take a full body stretch. Might want to bring the knees in again for another hug. And then rolling over to the side and bringing yourself round to a seated position. Once in a seated position, just fluttering the eyes open if they were still closed, taking the hands to Anjali Mudra at the centre of the chest, Thank you for sharing your practice with me. Namaste. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope you enjoyed the practice.